Trading days, February 7th, 2015. We'll look at the daily chart of the SP 500, and just to follow up from the previous videos, I had March 11th and maybe a week either side as the potential primary cycle low. And I'm saying now we should start looking or be on our toes. We could get it earlier. It's an 18-week cycle. We're in the 17th week. 18-week is an average. This cycle can actually run from 15, 16 weeks to 22, 23 weeks, so somewhere in that range. And we look for relevant astrological indicators that have had a correlation with primary cycle lows in the past, which is exactly the reason I picked March 11th. If you've been following this for a while, you know that I've got this whole period from February the 18th through to the end of March and possibly bleeding over into April as a real problem area, problem time, many problems, and that still stands, and fireworks may start around the 18th. Going back to the actual price chart, I talked last week about a head and shoulders top, this being the head, the left shoulder, and the right shoulder is now blowing up, so we won't worry about that. But as these patterns often do, it's kind of morphed into a symmetrical triangle. It's just broken out to the top. Just a rule on symmetrical triangles, and it's not always the case, but often it will exit the triangle in the same direction it entered, and it entered going up. That means it would end going up. It doesn't always happen, and I don't think it's going to happen this time. Another point to be made here is this low on February the 2nd. That is the date I mentioned last week where Venus trined Kronos, Kronos being a Uranian point, and I use all of them. And I noted it was favorable and the market should move up, and it moved up, and it moved up hard. And it got all the way to the to Friday, where I had mentioned the Sun in opposition to Jupiter. This is down a little. If you look at the gold charts, silver charts, you'll see that they had a much bigger effect. The other point I wanted to make here was that this low on February 2nd, I'm not going to call this a primary cycle low yet, but it has all the ingredients. It's the price is below the 15-day simple moving average and the 45-day simple moving average, the two that we use to try and track the primary cycle. And the 15 is below the 45, which you also want to see. It's a very shallow, if it is a primary cycle, it's a very shallow one. Now, if you look at the moving averages, the 15 is pointing up and headed to cross the 45. If it does so, and obviously it's going to need some higher days to get there, but if it crosses it and the 45 turns up, it gives more credence to this being a primary cycle low. I wouldn't do any investing based on that, because my opinion of this is going to reverse, and we're going to be headed down next week. And another point, I would never make a decision to buy anything based on 1 or 2 bars of data. I always wait for 3, and I'm hoping, or I'm thinking here the third is going to start us moving down. It may just be a little bit, but I'm looking to go down during the week. The another thing that's on this chart, which, well, the effects are on the chart, is the Mercury retrograde. It went retrograde on January 21st, which I'm pointing to right now. When planets go retrograde or direct, they in effect appear to stop from our view from it from the planet Earth. This is due to the elliptical orbits of the planets and Earth, for that matter. But you'll see that first of all, the planet Mercury it's exactly retrograde, going retrograde on the 21st, but it's virtually stopped the day before and the day after. The day after, it made the high, and it came right back down again. So it marked a turn. I mentioned that we're going to get a Sun conjunct Mercury in the middle of the retrograde period. It was actually any time there is a conjunction of the Sun and Mercury, it's going to be an inferior in a retrograde period. It's going to be an inferior conjunction, and that happened on January 30th, and I'll point that out. You'll see that is a pretty good down day, and one day again it's exactly retrograde but stopped the days around it, and you'll see it made the low and headed up on that Monday where we had Venus trine Kronos. So our calls are good here. Mercury has been particularly accurate this time. It sometimes is. It's always accurate, I guess. This coming week, I'm finished with Mercury because it's going to go stationary direct on February the 11th. That is often a short-term change in trend, and one of the reasons I'm looking for this market, or markets plural, to head down this week. Other things that are coming up on February the 8th, that's a Sunday, we have another one of those moon passing over 15 degrees 5 minutes of Libra. If you go back through previous letters, or it'll be on this letter again, these have marked days where the market has been down. Now this one is on a Sunday, so it won't hit the market directly, but it may have an effect on the opening on Monday morning. We're getting awfully close to the start of this, what I've identified as a bad period, difficult period, tense period, and that, by my calculations, starts on February the 18th. That is a perigee moon, simply meaning that it's the moon's closest path to Earth for that rotation, and this was also called a supermoon by Richard Knoll. It can be a time where there's an increase in earthquake activity, bad storms, accidents, this type of thing going on. It's strictly between the moon and the sun. I'm looking for an uptick in earthquake activity with these other large aspects that are occurring middle of February to the end of March. The other thing that's going on February the 18th is Mars is going to be passing over the point of the March 20th solar eclipse. Let me say that again. Mars is going to be passing over the point of the March 20th solar eclipse. So the first point to make here is eclipses, the energy of eclipses can be seen before the eclipse occurs. It can also affect things afterwards, but that's what I expect to happen here. It's a total solar eclipse. It's looking more and more like Russia-U.S. Problems, but I don't want to make that call at this point because there's so many other potential flare-ups between countries that it's difficult to pick one, but there's going to be one. That's all I'm going to say on this one. We'll have a more video and some other charts. Thanks for listening.